The 1-2. Hernandez flies it into short right field. Davis on the move, races in. He dives, and the ball gets underneath his glove and rolls up the right field line. Del Valle scores. Nova follows. Hernandez on his way to third. The throw is not in time, and it gets away. Hernandez breaks for the plate, and he scores without a throw. A Little League home run for Marco Hernandez, and the RailCats strike for 3 in the bottom of the second. It's 3-1.
Well, if he does steal a base, it'd be his first of the season as the 1-1 grounded down the third base line and just fair. Hernandez has a 2-hit day. Here comes Del Valle around third, racing to the plate. The throw not in time. It gets away from the catcher. Hernandez going to third. He's got it.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to Emergency Podcast. I'm actually off today, so this actually makes it pretty well that I can do this. We have a release and a sign. Marco Hernandez is released, and Paul Mondesi has come to the RailCats as a catcher. Offline, basically, Chuck has been feeding me information, and this wasn't the move I was expecting quite yet, but it's a move that is probably necessary. I think there are going to be some moves that are going to be made, and it may or may not make people mad. But I'm not going to say anything or release anything until it's 100% confirmed, because I'm not in the business of giving out false information. I don't like doing that. That's just it's a me thing. So we'll go from there and see what happens. But let's get to Marco Hernandez before we get to Paul Mondesi. Marco, was basically the opening day catcher. And I don't necessarily... He had some big games. The one big game that I remember from him was the King County game. He had 2 hits, a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs, and that was actually the one that I took a picture of him throwing a ball to a kid before the game. But other than that, he ended with the average of 189. I just don't, I wasn't really, how should I say it? The way that Thomas Greeley has been playing, I really thought he was going to be the day one starter from the beginning. And I don't know what Lamar Rogers was necessarily thinking. Greeley has the ability to throw a bunch of people out. Now we saw that in the Cleveland series. He typically throws people out. I totally forgot I had that on. I was editing video, so that was on. So that's what you're gonna see for a little bit until I realized that I had those on. It was one of those that I think Thomas Greeley earned that spot from last year. I really think that Carlos Martinez was the catcher to be, but he got injured, so it was just a matter of who was gonna come out between Urias Ramsey, Greeley, and Hernandez, and those two came out of it. And Thomas Greeley really showed in the last, especially in the Cleveland series, really showing that he should be he should be starting. Now, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get with Paul Mondesi. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get with Will Decker. Those moves, and Chuck did point out to me that when we traded Sam Abbott away, we didn't get anything for him. So we basically just got rid of him and then signed 2 more people. The Jose Contreras pickup, great. I think it's great right now. It's going to shuffle the deck. I really think it's going to shuffle the infield. It's going to be interesting to see, what goes on right now with Tapia, because he is the lowest player besides Will Decker that hasn't been cut yet. But it's still early. I still think it's too early to say, what, we gotta get rid of him, because it's just one of those that I think he has played a very, there's like handful of plays that have happened at first base that you're kind of like, he should have been able to make that play. But it's just gonna be interesting. We're gonna have to wait that one out. We're gonna feel that one out. I would say within the next week or so, we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm not sure what's going on with Nova. I know Contreras has been playing at third. Don't know if Nova's been hurt, but Nova's been a very productive player. He does have 5 home runs and he has 17 RBIs, so I don't really necessarily know why you would want to take him out of the lineup. On the flip side of that, Tapia does have 15 RBIs, so he has been producing. The only players that aren't in the RBI, in double digits is Jose Contreras, Woodworth, Greeley. I mean, those are really the only 3, and besides Will Decker. So I'm just curious to see how that's all gonna kind of play itself out. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to take Woodworth out of the lineup because I don't. He's not a person that's necessarily known for driving in runs. He's mostly a leadoff hitter, so he doesn't get that opportunity to always drive and run. So that's where we're putting that one aside. Greeley, I don't think really has had the opportunities quite yet. I know when you look at the games played, they're kind of split between the two, 15 and 14. With Hernandez and Greeley. But Greeley finally just started coming into it. I just think that his batting average is better. He's a better arm. Realistically, he's a better arm, and I would rather have a sure arm back there. And there was a lot of flaws I think Marco Hernandez had, especially when it was pitches to his right. For some odd reason, he always want to, if it's you want to step out and you want to you want to catch it not on your backhand, but it was like one of those, like, he wasn't shifting over to the right and he was trying to catch it as you would normally catch a ground ball, not backhand, like forehand kind of grab it. But the issue was that he needed to try to backhand those ones because they were so far out of the way, and I don't think his mobility was necessary. Watching the couple games that Greeley has been played, he's picked a lot of balls out of the dirt and he's blocked a lot of stuff that has happened. And I think that gives pitchers a little bit more confidence knowing that they don't necessarily have to, they can throw a ball in the dirt and try to get someone to strike out. Do I wish Hernandez the best? I do. I don't know what his next steps are, what's going to go forward to him. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think anyone on this team is a bad person where we need to get rid of them just because of toxicity. I think everyone meshes well in this locker room. But I think things are starting to change. You're just starting to see it. It's going to happen. Something's got to change somewhere. Are we now starting to lean towards it's the player issue, or is it a coaching issue? Because Lamar Rogers has brought these players in on his own. This is his first full official year that I would say. So, and they started out really well. So I don't know necessarily if it's the coaching that's the issue, or maybe it's the players just aren't there yet. I think the biggest thing that we're looking at on a coaching aspect of it is maybe the pitching staff. Chuck told me to maybe look into game 30, but I think by this time I would say game 15 to 20 should have been your opening range to see who can get to where, because that's 20% of the season, and if you're already burning your bullpen in the first 20% of the season, you're not going to have any gas left toward the end of the year. I mean, it's listening to the Indie Ball Report, listening to This Week in Association. They're giving up on the RailCats again. They were a little bit high on them. They started out really well. Now they're giving up on them. I'm not giving up on them. I don't think we should give up on them, but they're starting to give up on the pitching staff, and I don't necessarily think it's the pitching staff that could be the necessary issue. The numbers may be inflated for that, but it's just one of those. I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that aspect of it. Now looking at Paul Mondesi here. He's a younger guy. I believe he is 24 years of age. It looks like he was in the Royals organization. Let me see if I can get his MILB look up here. Let's see if it's gonna show me. Okay, so he was a free agent signing for the Kansas City Royals. So he's been in the Royals organization. We all know how that organization is kind of ran. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're really, really bad. One of the two, but that's beside the point. On that front of it, he is from New York, New York. So we did bring in an American player, which I was afraid things were starting to shift overseas kind of deal. Not overseas, but international to a certain extent. But he, last year he played for York Revolution in York, Pennsylvania for the Atlantic League. He played in 15 games, had a batting average of .244. I think he split some time with Empire State from the Frontier League where he batted a .165. So I'm not sure if he started in York and then went to Empire. Not 100% positive on that one, but this may give him an opportunity to play, to show some opportunity, just because getting rid of Abbott, and if you're going to use Contreras as a first baseman, and you're looking at maybe potentially getting rid of someone, you'll need maybe another backup. Obviously you need a backup catcher, and this would give him that opportunity to maybe spell Greeley, or if if Lamar just doesn't really want Greeley to be the starting catcher and he wants someone else to be in that role, which mind boggles me at this point. But maybe it's just another catcher that could potentially give you a relief at first base. If you're looking to drop a first baseman, depending on what happens with the week, if Jose Contreras continues what he's doing, that would open up a spot. I know you still have Will Decker. I think he might have been a first baseman, one of those. I don't know what the situation is. I can't get a good read on this. That's the part that's been intriguing this year, is that it's not like it's been such a wide gap like it was last year with the players that you can kind of pick and choose. Like, oh well, this guy can go. That doesn't fall underneath Lamar Rogers' mold, what he wants to see in a player. All these players are what Lamar Rogers wants. Now it's just what is the production is he looking for? What is it that he's looking from a first baseman? What is he looking from a third baseman? I think the middle infield's pretty solid. You have a utility player in Gio Diaz who can put anywhere that you want. This lineup, it's just so hard to, say, got to get rid of this guy because he isn't performing. But it's like you can't get rid of this guy and replace him with it's just one of those, like, it's just so hard to kind of to see. I think the biggest flaw right now is I really think that it's the lack of home runs. I think that's a big thing. I think it's the lack of home runs, even though we've been getting them here lately. I think that's a big thing, is the production at bats on how it's done. The bullpen giving up home runs or giving up a ton of runs. That stuff, I don't know what the potential is, what's going on here. I'm not sure 100% what the next steps are going to be. It's going to be interesting. I think this week and the next week are going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen, when we get to the All-Star break, what's going to happen there, because that's coming up here shortly. So we'll see what happens. I'm not 100% positive, but it's going to be interesting here going forward. So like I said, it's going to be a shorter one, just kind of going over the new signing and the release signing, kind of see what's going to go on from there. Hopefully I sent out an email today. Hopefully I might be getting an interview. I finally got everything I need to get set up for that. But I'll leave that as a surprise, but I want to see what the response back is going to be on that portion of it, and see when we get something to work out. Got that stuff set up. Once I break the ice with the first interview, I will start looking for more interviews. It could be players, front office members, teammates, fans. I mean, it's just one of those that if you want If you don't want to, you completely understand, just interviews and stuff like that. I want to start getting that going. If you want your face on the camera, put a face on the camera. If not, then we can keep your face out of it. I can roll either way on that aspect of it. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. If you want to know more like personal outside, other sports that I like to follow and retweet and stuff like that, be sure to follow me at KSavitich on Twitter. That way it's not always baseball, it's other stuff as well on that. But yep, like I said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this. And go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.